We're going to go back to that breaking news this morning out of Aurora. Police again are investigating what they're calling a suspicious occurrence that sent one suspect to the hospital.
That's right. Police are giving an update right now. Let's listen in.
In the parking lot just north of that address, he was back behind some trees and vehicles. Officers started to give that individual orders. They were clearly identifiable as Aurora police officers. That individual did not comply with orders. He immediately came out from behind the cars and approached officers at a very fast pace. Officers are actually retreating backwards to create space. At that time, the subject continued to come at officers and not comply with orders. An officer did discharge his firearm, and the individual was struck in the leg. Upon being struck by gunfire, the individual threw down a knife onto the ground, dropped to his knees, and complied with officers' commands. Officers immediately rendered aid, and the individual was transported to Aurora South with non-life-threatening injuries. We are expecting him to be released shortly. His parents have been notified. We've been in contact with his parents. The officer is a 20-year officer. He's on administrative leave, which is consistent with our policies and procedures of the Aurora Police Department. The investigation is still in its early stages, but we're coordinating with the Arapahoe County 18th Judicial District, a critical incident response team who conducts these officer-involved incidents. We'll also do an internal investigation, and we will do a use of force investigation as well. We don't know what motivated this individual to not comply with orders and charge at officers. We're still going to figure that out through our investigation. But we have in this area experienced a lot of vehicle break-ins and motor vehicle thefts. So our officers are being very proactive in the community to try to locate people who might be breaking into cars and try to intervene and stop that behavior. Unfortunately, in this case, an individual who we believe was involved in that type of conduct was contacted and did not listen to officers' clear commands and subsequently was injured.
Do you have an age on the suspect? You said you talked to his parents.
Yes, he's a 16-year-old Hispanic male.
A history on him as well?
He has several contacts with the Aurora Police Department. I can't go into all what his history is, but yes, he is familiar to the Aurora Police Department.
Did you get calls to this area and that's how this team was found, or they were just patrolling and saw him?
They were just patrolling and saw him. This was not a 911 call for service.
And so all of this was in this parking lot, or you mentioned it was the first location, then it looks like it's adjacent to this parking lot.
Yeah, it's all in the same general area, right around 1035 South Elkhart Way. Yes.
Have you had a task force out here for stolen cars, or as you said, prowlers in this area?
I will tell you, we've been very proactive deploying our resources at areas where we've seen increases in criminal activity. We call it hotspot policing. This area has been an area that we focused on for some time. So officers do patrol this area quite often and do make proactive contacts on individuals that are conducting suspicious behavior.
So I imagine you people were able to respond quite quickly when the initial calls came in at about 2:50.
Yeah, when I believe they contacted the individual around 3:22 a.m. and the shots were fired at 3:23. So about 3 to 4 minutes after the initial contact when the individual ran from officers.
You mentioned a lot of break-ins in this area. Any data you can share or a number you can give to help us quantify that to viewers?
I don't have the data right in front of me, but yes, we do keep data. It's available on our website, on our portal, that you can pull that data for this specific area. We can also provide it if upon request.
How many shots were fired?
We're still determining the number of shots. Somewhere between 2 to 3 is what we believe.
And did officers know he had a knife before those shots were fired?
That's still too preliminary in the investigation. Interviews will have to be conducted to determine what the actual what the officer observed and what his perception of the incident was at that time.
And did the teen or any family members or friends, do you know if they live in this area or these condos?
I can't speak to where the individual lives or where his family may live.
I'm sorry, one officer fired shots?
Yes, one officer. Correct. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Good job. Thanks, man.
Again, this is breaking news that we're following out of Aurora right now. There was an overnight occurrence that happened around 3:20 this morning near Sable and Mississippi. We know that Aurora police did shoot one person there, a 16-year-old Hispanic male that's familiar to the Aurora Police Department. He was talking about car break-ins happening in that area, and so this was a patrol that saw this man, this 16-year-old, did not comply with orders. He did have a knife, and so an officer fired his gun.
Yeah, it sounds like he was approaching officers pretty quickly. They had ordered him to stop. It sounds like they say he was not doing so. Ultimately, when they arrested him, he did drop that knife to the ground. We are asking questions like how many shots were fired. We know that somewhere between 2 and 3. Police are still working on determining that right now. It's also not clear if they knew that this guy had a knife before they fired those shots. We're working to get all of those answers right now. Our Lauren Scafidi is still on the ground asking those questions. And once we get more information, we're going to bring that to you. We'll be right back.